The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 10, Fish Face. After being the favored concubine for many years, Imperial Consort Xu was very aware of the deep affection that the emperor have in his heart for Jingwang all this time. This made her even more resentful of Jingwang. What if the emperor got angry at her over this matter and it implicated the second prince who was about to become the crown prince? Then what? Imperial Consort Xu couldn't just watch idly as she and the second prince encountered calamity. Therefore, she thought up a rather brilliant idea. According to her, "Zhao Er, come, don't make a sound. We need to quickly hide this fish." Mu Tianzhao. Imperial Consort Xu didn't want others to get involved. Ganking Palace wasn't her territory. The emperor was sitting not far away on his dragon throne. Suddenly summoning a personal aide to deal with this would most likely attract the emperor's attention. The less people who knew about the death of Jingwang's fish the better. Imperial Consort Xu and the second prince blocked the view of the porcelain bowl together and discussed quietly. Imperial Consort Xu's plan was to first hide the dead fish, then pretend they discovered that the fish disappeared. The emperor would definitely send people to search for it all over. She just needed a little time to quietly get another live one prepared and find a good location to coincidentally find the fish again to perform this secret substitution. Wouldn't it be seen through? Mu Tianzhao was somewhat hesitant. He was almost the crown prince. He didn't want there to be any kind of mishap. "What are you afraid of?" Imperial Consort Xu scolded. "Isn't it just a regular soup fish? They all look the same. Jingwang probably won't even notice the difference." Imperial Consort Xu was able to come up with this plan because she was confident about this point. Even if that weren't the case, what was she supposed to do? Wait for Jingwang to cause trouble for her? Imperial Consort Xu glanced at the fish that was floating with its belly up on the surface of the water again. She needed to hide the fish well so people definitely couldn't find it. The safest place was hiding it in her sleeve. No one would dare to search the body of the favored concubine. Imperial Consort Xu suppressed her disgust and covered her fingers with a handkerchief to grab the fish. Just as she placed the fish in her hand, the originally motionless fish started to flail and struggled with all of its might. Imperial Consort Xu. Second Prince. Mu Tianzhao was dumbfounded as he said, "Mother, wasn't this fish dead? How could a fish revive after death?" This was really too strange. Imperial Consort Xu didn't have time to consider that. She also didn't have time to talk with the second prince. Although this fish was wrapped up in the handkerchief, it was still very slippery and also moving vigorously. If she messed up and dropped the fish on the floor, it would be right in front of the emperor in his Ganking Palace. Since she had already taken this step, it's impossible to turn back now. Sweat poured down Imperial Consort Xu's head. As a woman who lived a life of luxury, her hand didn't have much strength in them. Meanwhile, Liu was pretty experienced with flopping about. This time, he really did his best to be as excessive as possible. Adding in a very powerful tail, he easily struggled free of Imperial Consort Xu's hold. This was the moment when the little carp was closest to Imperial Consort Xu. Liu had swung his fish tail several times before, so he already had some experience on this. Calculating the approximate distance, he waved his tail nimbly once. Originally, he planned to jump on the Imperial Consort's body and scare her a bit, then he would grab the night luminescent pearl in the chaos. Of course, if he missed it and landed on the ground, he just needed to swing his tail and hop a few more times to return to the porcelain bowl. The porcelain bowl was very close to him. Leaving the water briefly shouldn't be a big issue. Not to mention, he had saved enough fresh water inside his portable storage space. However, he didn't anticipate that he had used too much strength, breaking a new record for the first time and directly leaping onto the Imperial concubine's face. Liu. Imperial consort Xu suddenly felt coldness on her face as Jingwang's fish jumped at her. With her view being blocked, the Imperial consort let out a loud scream, "Ah!" With this yell of hers, Li Yu also panicked. This was the first time he climbed onto someone's face as a fish after all. He unconsciously whipped his tail randomly and ended up slapping the Imperial concubine several times across the face. The second prince watched, stupefied. After hearing the series of sharp, crisp slapping sounds, he returned from his daze and yelled hastily, "Mother, mother! Quick, someone come! Save my mother, quickly! Quick, Zhao Air, help me get it off! It's on my face, it's on my face!" Imperial consort Xu's eyes were blocked. Scared and surprised, she screeched non-stop. Mu Tianzhao wanted to help. However, after extending his hand halfway, he paused. If this fish flew on him, he wouldn't be able to explain clearly either. In the middle of all of this chaos, Li Yu took the chance to find an appropriate position and swung his tail once more at the night luminescent pearl. This time, he very carefully controlled his strength and hit the gold ornament. As he wished, the pearl rolled off from the phoenix ornament. Imperial consort Xu originally wanted to attract the emperor's attention at night, so she spent a lot of effort on her forehead ornament with this priceless night luminescent pearl. However, at this moment, the imperial consort was so scared that he felt as if her inner organs were about to burst. How could she have the time to care about the hair ornament on her head? Li Yu tried his best to flick his tail a few times, but it was not enough to catch the falling night luminescent pearl. He could only watch as it landed and rolled on the golden tiled floor. If he had the pearl, he could obtain the pill to turn back to a human. He threw caution to the wind. Li Yu jumped down as well to try to snatch the pearl with his mouth. At this time, the emperor was currently enjoying his tea as he waited for Jingwang. He suddenly heard the imperial consort and the second prince screamed and yelled loudly and didn't know what was going on. The emperor as well as head steward Luo hastily went over. This was the scene that greeted him. The imperial consort's hair was in disarray, her face was ghastly pale and her arms were flailing all over, grabbing randomly at air. The second prince stood to the side, not knowing what to do. The emperor didn't see Li Yu. The little carp was chasing the pearl on the floor. Under this kind of circumstance, the first thing that the emperor noticed could only be the imperial consort and her son. "What's going on?" the emperor asked furiously. Li Yu didn't manage to reach the night luminescent pearl. Watching as it rolled away after landing on the floor, he still wanted to try to grab it. But he couldn't reach it. Above him, a hand appeared. Just as he was about to grab the pearl, this hand appeared and pressed him down, causing him to miss out on the night luminescent pearl. Who was it that prevented him from completing this task? Li Yu furiously raised his head and just happened to look directly at Jingwang's angry face. Damn! I'm done for. Hopping around unrestrained, he ended up getting caught red-handed by Jingwang, who just returned from changing his clothes. Li Yu lifelessly blew a bubble, wishing he could hide away immediately and adamantly deny everything. But he was already in Jingwang's hand, where could he hide? Just now, he slapped Imperial Consort Xu and attempted to snatch the night luminescent pearl, who knows if Jingwang saw that or not. In Jingwang's eyes, he probably caused a lot of trouble, right? However, he wasn't recklessly playing around. Imperial Consort Xu definitely would complain to the emperor about this. As long as he returned back into the porcelain bowl before the emperor discovered him, the emperor wouldn't believe Imperial Consort Xu's words. After all, how can a fish escape out of a bowl, mess with Imperial Consort Xu and then jump back? That's right. He must return. It was so uncomfortable without water. He needed to figure out how to secretly return back to the porcelain bowl from Jingwang's hand. But this was an even harder task than plotting against Imperial Consort Xu. Jingwang was hard to trick. He needed to be twice as tricky. Liu was still madly using his fish brains. The hard-to-trick Jingwang already carried him and gently placed him back in the water. Liu, who was suddenly moved back into the porcelain bowl and was again surrounded by water. Aya, the tyrant actually put him back. Liu immediately twisted his body fawningly. Jingwang gave the fish another glare. The terrified, heart-thumping little carp read the message in the dangerous glint of the tyrant's eyes. "I'll deal with you later." Liu. "No way. Don't tell me that he didn't do anything previously because he planned to settle the score later? He didn't want to be fish soup. He didn't want to die. He might as well let the tyrant squeeze him a few more times." Liu bumped his back against Jingwang's hand, groveling. "What if I volunteer to be squeezed? Is that enough payment?" Jingwang. "Your Majesty, I beg you to uphold justice for this concubine." I don't know why, but Jingwang's fish just suddenly jumped onto this concubine's face. Still panicked and distraught, Imperial Consort Xu wept endlessly as she kneeled before the Emperor, hating Jingwang to death in her heart. Did she fell into Jingwang's trap? The fish's death and revival might have been planned to trick her so she would lose face in front of the Emperor. After experiencing the panic just now, Imperial Consort Xu completely lost all of her composure, suspecting everything to be a trap. The Emperor rubbed his temple, looking rather confused at Jingwang. Jingwang scoffed coldly and with his chin, he gestured at the porcelain bowl not far away. When he placed the little carp back, he made certain that no one noticed him. Since Imperial Consort Xu bribed people to slander him, he should also let Imperial Consort Xu have a taste of her own medicine. Jingwang glanced at the little carp. This fish was quite interesting. It actually managed to set up this situation and blessed him with this golden opportunity. The Emperor ordered Luo Ruisheng to go investigate. Luo Ruisheng only saw Jingwang's fish still swimming happily in the bowl. This time, the Emperor really got angry. "Imperial Consort, why are you lying shamelessly? Jingwang's fish is clearly still in the bowl." Imperial Consort Xu felt hot blood rushing to her head and said angrily and urgently, "Your Majesty, it's true. This fish flew out just now." The Emperor frowned. "What are trying to say? That this fish can fly?" "It flew to bully you then flew back into the bowl." The fish left a shadow of fear on her heart. She unconsciously nodded her head repeatedly and said, "That's what happened. Zhao Er saw it too." "Imperial Consort, are you possessed?" The Emperor sighed, clearly not believing her. Imperial Consort Xu was fine before, yet now she was causing a commotion and even speaking nonsense. A fish that flies? How can this be possible? If she wasn't possessed, why would she rave like so and even mess up her hair like that? It's fine if you want to speak nonsense yourself. Do you also want to drag Tianzhao to speak nonsense with you as well? Mu Tianzhao originally planned to help Imperial Consort Xu, but upon hearing these words, he instantly choked. Imperial Consort Xu wildly shot him eye gestures. Mu Tianzhao pondered, right now the Emperor didn't believe this at all. If he stubbornly helped Imperial Consort Xu, he would make the Emperor unhappy. Why should he flaunt courage at this moment? For the Crown Prince position, Mu Tianzhao was willing to do anything. Immediately, he said sensibly, "Imperial Father, your words of wisdom are correct. This son didn't see clearly." Imperial Consort Xu looked incredulously at her own son. Mu Tianzhao guiltily shifted his gaze away. He was about to be the Crown Prince. What's wrong with exercising self-preservation? The Emperor said unhappily, "Imperial Consort, even Tianzhao reported as such, what else do you have to say for yourself?" "Your Majesty, it's this concubine who was possessed. This concubine spoke wrongly, please forgive this lowly one." Imperial Consort Xu resentfully bit her cherry lips. Since her own son won't help her, what else can she say? She had to admit that she was confused temporarily. The Emperor didn't believe her, so it was pointless to continue complaining. The best course of action at the moment was to relent and soothe the emperor's anger first. She couldn't afford to fight to the death with a fish at a time like this. Just as imperial consort Xu reluctantly admitted her mistake, Jingwang stepped on a handkerchief on the floor with his cloud-embroidered shoes. Wang Shi, who was closely following Jingwang this whole time, rushed forward, bent over and picked up the handkerchief. Because he didn't know whose handkerchief this was, Wang Shi opened the handkerchief specifically and shook it out, then exclaimed "Ayo," in surprise. "Wang Shi, what's wrong with you now?" The emperor felt a headache from all of these events happening one after the other. Wang Shi said, "Reporting to your majesty, this servant seemed to have picked up the imperial consort's handkerchief. How come there's fish scales on it?" As Wang Shi talked, he held up the handkerchief in order to let everyone see. The handkerchief was embroidered with begonia flowers. Even the emperor was able to recognize that this was the one that the imperial consort used. As Wang Shi said, the handkerchief did have some fish scales sticking to it. Why would there be fish scales on the imperial consort's handkerchief? There just happened to be a fish in Ganking Palace at the moment. Jingwang sent a cold and sharp, dagger-like gaze towards the imperial consort. Wang Shi immediately followed up and said in Jingwang's place, "Fish scales usually grow on the fish's body. They don't fall off easily." Could it be that the imperial consort saw that His Highness was not present, so she did something to our family's master fish? Wang Gonggong was truly worthy of being Jingwang's spokesperson. He made excellent argument. Li Yu was delighted. Nevertheless, he was only a fish. When did he become a master fish? What master? The emperor was stupefied when he heard this. Wang Shi explained with a smile that reached ear to ear, "Your Majesty, this servant heard Xiao Linzi say before, that the cat that the imperial consort raised was called Master Cat. Therefore, I thought, the fish that His Highness was taking care of naturally should be Master Fish. The emperor was the master of this entire realm. He was the person most suitable to be given the title master. Yet the imperial consort actually dared to let people call the cat she raised master. Was she trying to put a cat and the emperor on the same level? Ridiculous. There will be no random nicknames in the future." The emperor gave imperial consort Xu a displeased glare and asked imperial consort Xu, "What did you do to Jingwang's fish? Why was there fish scales on your handkerchief?" Of course imperial consort Xu knew that it was because she used this handkerchief to catch the fish, but she definitely couldn't admit that. Ever since she came over to look at the fish, the originally advantageous situation for her has turned. This fish definitely had animosity towards her. Where would she find the time to do anything to this fish? Clearly it was this fish that was tormenting her. Imperial consort Xu said with a sob, "Your Majesty, why don't you ask Jingwang? Jingwang was the one who abused my Biao Shui first." "Your Majesty." Wang Shi knelt down, disregarding possible danger to himself, and stated loudly, "His Highness can't speak and yet he has to face slander for no reason. Your Majesty is aware that since His Highness was young, the injuries he obtained are not easily healed. All of the imperial physicians know this. Just now when he was changing clothes, this servant saw there was a bruise on His Highness's leg. The position matched the level of a cat. That day, it was the imperial consort's cat who first attacked His Highness. That's why His Highness punished it a little bit. I beg you, Your Majesty, please give justice to His Highness. A bruise caused by the cat?" Imperial consort Xu pupils constricted abruptly. Why didn't she know that Jingwang would actually have this kind of proof on his body? After the emperor learned that Jingwang was injured, he felt very upset. Immediately, he summoned the imperial physician over to treat Jingwang's injury. Hearing from the imperial physician that there really was a bruise, the emperor burst into rage, "Just a mere cat and it dares to run into my son? Being punished was really rightfully deserved." Since the cat was the one who first hurt Jingwang, it indicated that Xiao Linzi didn't tell the truth. Later investigation revealed that Xiao Linzi was bribed by Imperial Consort Xu and a rain of blood poured over Ganking Palace. The emperor burned with a vengeance. He hadn't even bestowed the title of Crown Prince to the second prince, and yet, Imperial Consort Xu was already bold enough to frame Jingwang. If she became the Empress Dowager in the future, how was Jingwang supposed to survive in the future? The emperor punished Imperial Consort Xu to seclusion in Zongqi Palace, not permitting her to leave without being summoned. Originally, he planned to promote Imperial Consort Xu to noble Imperial Consort soon after her birthday. Now he was no longer in the mood to do so. The emperor didn't even feel pleased to bestow the title of future crown prince to the second prince, and currently finding him an eyesore. There was no way for Imperial Consort Xu to have imagined that the scheme she concocted meticulously would be messed up and end in such a conclusion, all because of a mere fish. This time, Li Yu made quite the contribution. Outside was full of cacophony and noise. He felt somewhat tired listening to it. Remembering the 2 grains of fish food at the bottom of the bowl, Li Yu pulled himself together and swam over to gobble up the fish food. He was just about to take a nap when he felt like he seemed to have forgotten something. Wait. The night luminescent pearl. He almost forgot it. Li Yu quickly scurried to the surface of the water, looking all over. Found it. The pearl was currently laying by its lonesome at the corner of the palace hall. At this moment, no one noticed that the night luminescent pearl was missing from the imperial consort's forehead. Li Yu kind of wanted to give a try to secretly jump out again to take the pearl with him. Even if he couldn't take the pearl with him, if he could just touch it, maybe the task would count as completed. Wang Shi came over this time, picking up the porcelain bowl that Li Yu was in with a wide grin, and started to head outside. Li Yu. So, the emperor was still reprimanding Imperial Consort Xu, but Jingwang didn't have the patience to continue listening to it and asked to be excused early. Li Yu, who came with Jingwang to meet the emperor, naturally had to leave together with him. Li Yu, oi. Is there a mistake here or something? I haven't gotten the night luminescent pearl yet. As Wang Shi carried the bowl out of the palace, he saw the little carp clinging to the side of the bowl, as if staring reluctantly towards a certain direction. Wang Shi almost laughed out loud. Shaking his head, he thought perhaps he was overthinking things again. Li Yu saw himself getting farther and farther away from the pearl and assumed he probably wouldn't be able to complete this quest. Li Yu couldn't help but wilt a little. To the side, Jingwang also saw the little carp looking dispiritedly. Jingwang looked towards that direction, pondering for a moment. Then he pointed at an attendant to investigate over there. The attendant very quickly brought back a pearl. Jingwang recognized that this was the night luminescent pearl that was on Imperial Consort Xu's forehead. He was very certain that the little carp was looking at this pearl. After he finished changing clothes and came out of the side hall, he saw the little carp chasing after this pearl on the ground after all. So it wanted this pearl that much. Master, master. Please give me the pearl. Li Yu immediately became vigorous and came over fawningly, waving non-stop. He swam in circles after circles around Jingwang's fingers, as flatteringly as possible. Jingwang. We didn't even settle the previous score yet. You think you can just twist a few times to get the pearl you wanted? It wouldn't be that easy. Lips curling upward, Jingwang placed the night luminescent pearl inside his sleeve. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 11, Fish want to apologize. Li Yu returned to Jingtai Palace with Jingwang and his attendants. Along the way, he expressed goodwill countless times. However, the Jingwang, who had tapped on this fish's head in Ganking Palace, didn't respond at all. Moreover, he even put away the night luminescent pearl. Jiyu felt somewhat angry and gloomy. He at least made great contributions in making the imperial consort suffer failure. What's so wrong with giving him the pearl for a moment? It was not like he would take it for himself. He only needed it to complete the side quest. Once the quest was deemed completed, he probably wouldn't have any use for that pearl. However, maybe he shouldn't be too impatient. Perhaps Jingwang just took away the pearl coincidentally. Communication between the two of them was really too difficult. Liu promptly changed tactics and started to make circles in the bowl, wanting to use the round shape to remind Jingwang about the pearl. However, Jingwang continued to pretend he didn't see anything. "Little thing, what exactly are you trying to do?" Wang Shi asked with a smile. Wang Gonggong had decided that from today onward, he would serve this fish well. Although this fish was only a very ordinary carp that's used as a food ingredient, it brought good fortune to Jingwang and himself. It merely splashed Jingwang full of water, which was enough to let them unexpectedly discover the bruise that Biao Shui had created, and make the imperial consort end up in such a sorry state. Before Wang Shi had looked down upon Xiao Linzi for calling Biao Shui Master Cat. Right now, he was practically eager to give the address of Master Fish a try. Liu stiffened under Wang Shi's enthusiastic questioning. He didn't want to do anything else. He only wanted to obtain the pearl. However, just what was he supposed to do to let these people know of his wish? Was he supposed to swim out the word pearl? Better forget that plan. If he really wrote out a word and scared Wang Shi into thinking he was a carp Yao, that would be bad. Yao were generally not accepted in established nations. Speaking honestly, he was only an innocent transmigrated fish. He should probably think of other plans. Wang Shi carried the porcelain bowl back to the room that the little carp was originally placed in. Liu watched as Jingwang's figure moved further and further away. The tyrant wasn't going to stay together with him. Liu carefully thought for a moment. Although Jingwang changed his clothes here once before, Liu really didn't see any bed or couch-like furniture in this room. Could it be that this room wasn't actually Jingwang's bedroom? People say that in ancient times, how much a concubine was favored could be measured by the distance of their residence to the emperor. In terms of favored pets, this logic should apply pretty much the same. If a pet didn't stay together with its master, that basically was no different than not raising one at all. Liu could practically see himself failing the entire main mission and turning into fish bones and fish ashes. He couldn't be separated from Jingwang. The originally wilted Liu was immediately filled with spirit. Living was more important than the night luminescent pearl. He didn't get along with Jingwang yet. Wang Shi asked him what he wanted. Liu boldly poked his head out of the water and turned towards Jingwang's direction, staring over there with a burning gaze. Wang Shi was so delighted he couldn't stop grinning ear to ear. Oh, so the little thing is reluctant to part from His Highness and wants to stay by his side. Being called little thing several times, Liu felt very embarrassed. Yet, he still responded cooperatively by blowing a small bubble. Little thing, this isn't easy to accomplish. His Highness doesn't like other people entering his room. Wang Shi was in a pretty good mood, so he actually offered explanations to the fish. Liu. So, his tyrant master had this kind of taboo. This was the first time Liu heard of it. Perhaps this was a setting that wasn't written in the novel. After all, the Jingwang in the novel was only rows of ice-cold words. But the real Jingwang was a person that existed right in front of him. A person was multifaceted and always more complicated than mere words on a page. Liu accepted this fact quickly. Jingwang didn't like other people entering his room, but it's not like he was other people. He was a pet fish. Liu continued to wave his tail coquettishly at Wang Shi. He still wanted to go. Wang Shi grinned uncontrollably. Sometimes he felt like this little carp seemed to understand human well, and was also very clingy. Who didn't like a pet that was clingy to its master? Wang Shi really wanted to help the little carp. A fish didn't make any noise and it didn't really matter where the fish was being kept. One can pretend that its bowl was just another household decoration. However, he didn't even get the chance to persuade Jingwang when Jingwang had already taken the porcelain bowl with a sullen face and carried it away. Wang Shi. Wang Gonggong suddenly had a misconception that His Highness was unhappy. This servant can't understand him again. Jingwang brought the little carp into his bedroom where others were not permitted to enter. During their way back, he deliberately ignored the fish, planning to give it the cold shoulder for a bit. Yet this fish actually dared to wave his head and tail happily at Wang Shi. While Wang Shi was coaxing the fish, Jingwang was standing not far away, gazing coldly at them. This was a very peculiar feeling, just like when Mu Tianzhao stole his things when they were younger. Only when he managed to snatch it back would he finally felt better. Since this was the fish acknowledged before the emperor, then it belonged to him. He had the right to arrange where it lived, other people's opinions were unnecessary. Jingwang directly moved the little carp into his bedroom and did not permit anyone to disturb it. On Wang Shi's side, he definitely didn't expect Jingwang's thoughts to be full of these twists and turns. In order to make him happy, Wang Gonggong hastily ordered the inner servants to head back to the original room and transport over the big porcelain fish bowl. Then, afraid that Jingwang wouldn't know how to raise a fish, he sent over some servants that raised fish, cats, and dogs, to be used in an emergency. Properly settled in, Li Yu was moved back into the big porcelain fish bowl. The fresh water had already been changed in the fish bowl. The leaf blanket and white stone bed was saved for him. Li Yu swam a lap around the fish bowl. This place was still much better. Swimming here felt much more satisfying than the soup bowl. Li Yu. Accidentally discovering that he was already accustomed to considering things from a fish's point of view, Li Yu didn't know whether he should laugh or cry. This adaptability, he didn't know if it was good or bad. Li Yu waited for a while, making certain that no one was paying attention, then dove under the water grass blanket and pretended he was resting as he entered the system. Last time, he came in high spirit to retrieve his reward. This time, he came head covered in dust, face covered in dirt, in complete failure. The main task and the side quest both didn't make any progress. The shitty system gave him the routine greeting but didn't offer any extra suggestion. Li Yu looked at the get-along task under the Tyrant's guppy pet fish mission. Half a day has already passed on the countdown. Meeting the Emperor didn't help him complete this task. Looks like he needed to put in more effort. Not being able to complete the Night Luminescent Pearl quest was rather unfortunate. He might as well give it another attempt, the Night Luminescent Pearl was already almost within reach. Li Yu thought, since he had already been moved into Jingwang's room. As a pet, he should have a thicker skin and be bolder. Secretly getting into his master's clothes and accidentally pulling out a pearl or whatever, made sense for a pet, right? There's no time to waste. Deciding to be shameless, Li Yu promptly returned. When he stayed in the system, he didn't know what's happening in the world outside. After exiting the system, Li Yu shook out his body and unexpectedly found himself currently laying in Jingwang's hands. Li Yu. Cupping fresh water in his hands, Jingwang held the fish within them to avoid dehydrating the little carp. He never examined this fish so closely before. After settling the little carp in, he couldn't resist coming over to take a look. It's really true that he felt that this fish was rather peculiar. It's also true that he felt it was somewhat interesting. When he carefully took the fish out of the water, he surprisingly discovered that this fish was completely stiff, not moving at all. Eyebrows rising, he immediately summoned a servant that raised fish before to come take a look. The other trembled as he looked at the fish in Jingwang's hand for a while, then stated that the fish was probably sleeping. Jingwang summoned another servant, they said the same thing. At about the time it took to drink a cup of tea, Jingwang sent all of these people away and stared at the fish without looking away. Since it was sleeping, then it had to wake up sometimes. He was ready to see what game this fish was up to this time. The little carp didn't really sleep for very long. As soon as Jingwang leaned in closer, he suddenly saw it shake its tail. Then its entire body lunged forward, almost falling over in the water. Jingwang. Once again, Jingwang felt like, the way this fish just woke up, all confused and in a daze, really seemed somewhat like a person. After that, this fish saw him and clearly became dumbfounded. Slightly angry, Jingwang tapped the little carp on the head. Seeing Wang Shi, you're all shaking your head and waving your tail eagerly. But seeing me, you just know how to look dumb. Being tapped, Li Yu shook his head back and forth. Then he remembered his task and started to wave his tail fawningly. He discovered that ever since he became a pet fish, waving his tail to beg for favor practically became another survival skill in addition to swimming. It's just his master didn't understand it and sometimes didn't even appreciate it. With a taut face, Jingwang gave a cold huff. Trying to flatter him now? Too late. Jingwang's palm was only so big. As the little carp started twisting about, it was hard to avoid touching everything. Jingwang felt somewhat out of sorts with the sensation of a fish tail touching his palm, but he stubbornly held it in. Li Yu was completely unaware, acting cute as his gaze floated over randomly towards Jingwang's clothes. He remembered that Jingwang placed the night luminescent pearl in his sleeve. If he could get into Jingwang's sleeve. At that moment, he was in Jingwang's hand. He can pretend that this fish was just very slippery. Li Yu purposely swam slowly to the edge of Jingwang's palm. So close, if he turned his body sideways, he would be able to flip out. Actually, he did try to do this. However, his fish body only went out a little bit when he was immediately caught by Jingwang's other hand and moved back up. Li Yu. I'm flipping, I can flip again. He attempted to flip out on the other side. However, Jingwang was even faster than him. Closing his hands, he enclosed Li Yu within. Li Yu, so angry. Jingwang was looking at him with a smile that's not quite a smile. Li Yu just knew that this guy was doing it on purpose. Perhaps he hid the pearl just to tease this fish as well. Eyeballs spinning, Li Yu thought smugly. Let's go then. He abandoned going in either direction and just inched along Jingwang's palm to his arm, sliding downward stealthily. Jingwang froze. Originally, he thought this fish was trying to escape. Who would have thought that this fish wanted to dive into his sleeve? Jingwang had water in his palm, which poured down the flesh of his arm. Within the blink of an eye, the little fish suddenly rolled into his sleeve. The towering and unyielding, iceberg-like Jingwang immediately furrowed his brows tightly and felt goosebumps appeared all over his body. At the same time, Li Yu, who successfully invaded into the enemy territory but didn't even have a chance to feel elated, abruptly felt himself touching a large area of bare skin. What kind of messed up feeling was this? Jingwang, he actually wasn't wearing any inner robes. Li Yu laid on top of a warm muscle, fish face burning hot. He thought about how in the world he came from, he was an innocent and pure boy. He hadn't even fallen in love yet. But after transmigrating into a novel, he actually ended up touching another man flesh to flesh. This really made this fish feel way too embarrassed. Li Yu was so embarrassed he tried to use his fins to cover his face, but the fins were too short and couldn't reach. Therefore, he switched over to swinging his tail wildly to vent his emotions. Jingwang, who was originally forcing himself to endure the strange sensation, immediately felt something indescribable scratching him repeatedly. Jingwang. How could a normal person endure this? Jingwang was about to break out in cold sweat. Quickly pulling open the front of his robes, he planned to pull out this trouble-making fish. Li Yu, who was hiding inside the sleeve, felt more and more suffocated. The sleeve was too narrow and too dark. As soon as he moved, he would start sliding downwards, unable to stop at all. Li Yu really regretted his recklessness and terrible idea. Eagerly wanting to get out, he started to flail randomly in a moment of desperation. This flailing made Jingwang feel even worse. Vaguely, Li Yu saw a faint light. He thought dizzily, how could there be light inside Jing Wang's clothes? Could it be the night luminescent pearl? Jing Wang was really devious, hiding a pearl this deep inside. Finally, Li Yu was able to find it. Success was just a step away, do your best. Li Yu desperately threw himself towards the direction of the light. It was already to this point. There was nothing in this world that could stop him. No matter what, first touch it and then talk. He got closer and closer to the light. In his dizziness, he faintly saw something round. Oh, a pearl is round. Li Yu immediately bit down with a cry. When he grabbed the round thing with his fish mouth, Li Yu felt extremely moved. Afraid he would lose the pearl, he even bit onto it as tightly as he could. Li Yu felt Jing Wang's body tremble violently. Immediately, the area above his head brightened up and the hindering garments were completely removed. Upper body bare, Jing Wang had a rare flush on his face as he looked at Li Yu from above, glaring furiously. Ai, this little carp was currently holding the iridescent pearl with his mouth so he couldn't blow bubbles back. In a good mood, Li Yu waved his tail happily at his master. But abruptly, Li Yu discovered this entire fish was laying on top of Jing Wang's chest. Li Yu? How did he get up here from being in the sleeve? Holding onto the pearl, Li Yu examined to the left and right of him. What entered his view was a large area of shiny white skin. Especially where the pearl was, he could feel the strange pulsing of life under the chest. Wait, Li Yu realized that something seemed a bit wrong. Did Jing Wang hang the night luminescent pearl in front of his chest? This was pearl of an imperial concubine. Was that necessary? Moreover, he felt like the size of the pearl didn't seem right. The texture was also a bit soft. Li Yu suddenly realized something. Letting go with a tremble, Li Yu glanced at the night luminescent pearl that was in his mouth reluctantly. This wasn't the pearl. This was the bean used to differentiate a man's front side from his backside. Fish life suffered a devastating blow. The little carp rolled off Jing Wang's chest in despair, but he was swiftly caught by keen-eyed, quick-handed Jing Wang. Just at this moment, Wang Shi pushed open the door and entered. He originally had things to ask Jing Wang. After waiting a while and not seeing Jing Wang exiting the room, he had no other choice but to come in to check the situation. Immediately, he saw Jing Wang with his clothes in disarray, face completely red, holding a fish in his hand. Wang Shi was shocked. Who knew what the experienced and knowledgeable Wang Gonggong thought about? In alarm, his voice even changed octaves. Your Highness, don't do it. This fish is still too small, it can't handle it. Li Yu. This fish was really humiliated today. Heavens, please just let this fish die. End chapter. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Transmigration. Chapter 12, Fish made a mistake. Li Yu knew that he had made a huge mistake. No need to even think about it. Jing Wang was definitely furious now. Not to mention that he had splashed water over Jing Wang previously, then caused a great ruckus in Ganking Palace when Jing Wang was not present. Now, he even molested Jing Wang as well. Li Yu felt that for Jing Wang not to have choked him to death on the spot was a blessing by the ancestors already. He couldn't remember at all how he had rolled out of Jing Wang's hand and back into the fish bowl, or how he laid back down on the white stone bed. Fish fell asleep easily, but after turning and tossing around restlessly for a while, he still couldn't fall asleep. When the moonlight shined into the porcelain fish bowl and projected a gleaming light onto the bottom of the water, he finally recovered a little from his tumultuous thoughts. Recalling that painful experience, Li Yu felt that no matter how thick-skinned he was, there was no way he could continue doing the night luminescent pearl side quest. There should be opportunities to turn into a human later on. It's better to give up on the side quest now and focus on the main objective. Li Yu convinced himself with great difficulty and then got ready to focus on figuring out how to get along with Jing Wang. However, This huge mishap already created a shadow in his heart. Whenever he saw Jingwang, he would feel uncomfortable all over, like his fish mouth could still feel the soft sensation from before. Then, his fish tail would start feeling like it was being cooked over fire, and soon after, this entire fish would also start burning in embarrassment. Why was he so blinded by success back then that he couldn't even distinguish between a pearl and that thing? Liu restlessly stuffed his head under the water grass blanket. He was this discomforted. Jingwang was probably also uncomfortable. From his perspective, to be bitten in that place by a fish would probably become a matter of ridicule for the rest of his life. Yet Liu even dug the hole deeper by moving into Jingwang's room. They had to encounter each other frequently. It was too late to feel regret now. Liu unconsciously started to avoid Jingwang. Whenever Jingwang passed by, he would either point his tail at Jingwang or hide under the grass blanket, pretending to be sleeping and not moving until Wang Shi came over to see him. Then he would act cute to ask for food. Every time Wang Shi came, he would feed Liu a lot of red-colored fish food as he looked at the fish with an extremely pampering expression. He even secretly said to the fish, "Little thing, you really suffered. Eat some more, grow a little fatter." Liu. A fish growing fat was very dangerous. The little carp became on guard. Was Jingwang planning to make him into fish soup? Fortunately, every time after Wang Shi finished feeding fish, he would always use a jade scepter to push Liu to swim around a few laps. At first, Liu didn't understand. But most likely because Wang Shi spent most of his time following the exceptionally quiet Jingwang, he gained a rather chatty personality. Although he spoke rather carefully in front of his master, he didn't feel any apprehension in front of a carp. Liu learned from Wang Gonggong's non-stop chattering that fish couldn't eat too much. Wang Gonggong was pushing him in order to help him digest food. Liu jolted. An image of a hand appeared in his head. The fingers of that hand pressed together as they gently pushed him to swim around all over. That was also after he ate a lot of fish food. So, Jingwang was also helping him digest food. But because Jingwang couldn't speak, along with that personality of his, Jingwang never revealed this to anyone. Liu felt internally grateful and also, even guiltier. He knew that Jingwang treated him very well. Yet he still ended up eating the others too, tofu. AI. Although it was a mistake and an accident, he still ate it. The little carp thought this with a face full of despair. Since he ate this tofu, there's no way the two of them can go back to before. Was he supposed to keep avoiding him like this, not doing any more tasks again, and eventually turn into fish bones and fish dust? Losing his life over something unfathomable, Liu could not accept this at all. He had to pull himself together. He had to complete the main missions with Jingwang, and he wouldn't be able to do that if he kept hiding whenever he heard Jingwang's footsteps. He felt that he should try to apologize. Although it was unintentional, in the end, he was at fault. As long as he apologized, even if a fish's apology was insignificant to Jingwang, Liu would be able to completely turn the page and treat Jingwang normally again. But how was he supposed to apologize? He often did the hula dance and twirl in circles, so these didn't count as anything special. He couldn't write words and can't use human words to express himself. As a fish, he can't really prepare a proper gift. The fish bowl, the bed, and blanket that he used, all didn't belong to him. What could he do to express his sincerity? Liu swam around in the fish bowl in distress, his gaze landing on a grain of fish food. This was a grain of fish food that Wang Shi fed to him not long ago. Because Liu wasn't very hungry, he didn't touch it. Since the fish food was given to him, then it belonged to him. He can give this to Jingwang to express his sincerity. Liu grabbed the fish food with his mouth and hid it away. Afraid that the quantity was too little, he secretly stored a few more of them, gathering them into an auspicious number. During the day, Jingwang very rarely stayed in the room, usually coming back at night time. During the night, the light was lit. Liu reckoned it was about enough and pulled out the grains of fish food one by one. Lining them up in a row earnestly, he waited for Jingwang with a heart full of delight. So, what if he bit his master on that spot? He was only a fish. Master, you will forgive this fish, right? But what he didn't know was that Jingwang had things to do that night and needed to head back to his estate outside of the imperial palace. Liu waited until he fell asleep and still didn't manage to see Jingwang. In the morning, Jingwang rushed back to Jingtai Palace, stepping on the morning dew. Wang Shi led a group of servants to help him change clothes. Jingwang gave a glance at the porcelain fishbowl in his spare time. Ever since he was bitten by the little carp, Jingwang felt like this fish was somewhat dispirited, and from what he observed, this was targeted and only towards himself. When Wang Shi went over, the fish would raise its head and wave its tail, but when it was him, he would only see a cluster of water grass. Jingwang was somewhat angry. Wasn't he the one who was bitten? He didn't even do anything, yet this fish actually dared to ignore him. Jingwang was not someone to be trifled with. He planned to settle the score completely with this fish. Setting up the rules, he wrote down all of the terms and got ready to order Wang Shi to do it. It didn't go so far as to involve cutting off the fish's food and water. He would be so cruel to his own fish. He just wanted to give this fish a little taste of bitterness to avoid this fish becoming too audacious and causing him trouble again. One of the terms was to place that pearl picked up in Ganking Palace into a crystal bottle and seal it up, then place the crystal bottle into the fish bowl. Jingwang knew that the little carp really wanted this pearl. So, he'll purposely refuse to let it have it. He wanted to let the fish only see the pearl but not touch it in order to wear down its temperament. He wanted the fish to know that most of the time, this world did not go according to one's wishes. Your Highness, this painstaking thoughtfulness of yours, would the little thing understand? Wang Shi very feebly attempted to dissuade Jingwang. Actually, what Wang Shi really wanted to say was, the little thing was only a fish. It definitely couldn't understand this kind of profound logic. However, Jingwang was determined to do this, going as far as to nod his head solemnly. Wang Shi couldn't persuade his master otherwise. So, he could only make the preparations. Jingwang finished changing his clothes and came in front of the fish bowl. He discovered that the little carp actually didn't hide away or lay on the white stone bed this time. Instead, it was currently sleeping on an orderly row of fish food. Jingwang. For a second, Jingwang almost thought someone was mistreating this fish so badly that this fish started to store food. The little fish woke up soon after. First, it looked around left and right and discovered that the fish food was still there. Then, it lifted its head and discovered Jingwang. Instantly, it started twirling happily. No. Liu shook his head. He almost reflexively started hula dancing. In the water, Liu did his best to kowtow. However, his fish fins were too short, so he couldn't bow with his hands held in front of him. Liu can only give up on bowing with his fins and change to dragging the fish food one by one in front of Jingwang, then lowering his head again. Jingwang. Wang Shi said in surprise, Your Highness, what's the little thing trying to do? Jingwang looked at the row of fish food that the little carp placed, and then looked at the little carp who was nodding its head relentlessly. He looked for a long time and also, guessed for a long time. Was this begging for forgiveness, flattery, or something else? No matter what it was, it seemed to want him to eat the fish food. Of course, humans can't eat fish food. Because of this fish's strange idea, Jingwang's lips curved slightly. Wang Shi saw Jingwang was pondering deeply and didn't dare to interrupt. The servant who was sent to make preparations came over to report. Wang Shi finally attempted to call softly, Your Highness, Your Highness. The night luminescent pearl has been placed into the crystal bottle according to your instructions. Jingwang originally indicated to Wang Shi to place the pearl in the crystal bottle to be put into the fish bowl as a punishment to the little carp, However, Wang Shi had to call several times before Jing Wang finally returned from his thoughts. In Wang Shi's hands was the crystal bottle that had the night luminescent pearl. This bottle was very secure. The opening of the bottle was sealed by wax. A fish definitely wouldn't be able to open it. Looking at the little fish that was persistently blowing bubbles at him, Jing Wang hesitated a moment and stopped Wang Shi. Before Wang Shi could comprehend the reason why, Jing Wang already seized the crystal bottle from his hand and held it over the fish bowl. The splendid shine of the night luminescent pearl was still very bright through the crystal bottle. Instantly, it lit up the fish bowl. Li Yu's attention was instantly caught. He very quickly saw clearly that this was the night luminescent pearl that he yearned so desperately for. Just what was happening? Was he dreaming? He already abandoned the side quest, yet Jing Wang brought the night luminescent pearl back out again. Li Yu still remembered the result of his previous impulsive, reckless actions and didn't dare to move. He remained well behaved in the fish bowl, waving his tail in slight anticipation. What was Jing Wang planning to do? Could it be what he was thinking? Standing in front of the fish bowl, the young man silently opened the crystal bottle, and directly dropped the night luminescent pearl into the fish bowl. Most of the time, this world did not go according to one's wishes. But as long as they sincerely thought about him, he'd return the favor, even if it's a fish. The night luminescent pearl slowly sank down. In the eyes of this fish, the night luminescent pearl was just like a splendid shooting star passing by. Li Yu let out a cheer. Leaping high with a wave of his tail, and he caught this pearl. End chapter.